PFF TV, Solomon Wilcots, of course, here with Sam Monson. And Sam, you got to take it easy on me because this would be my maiden voyage here with you at Pro Football Focus. So thank you for having me.
Not anytime, Sonny. You're a rookie now.
I know I get to go back to being a rookie. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns because we've seen that they brought in some great talent. Both sides of the ball, high expectations in the city of Cleveland. But as you well know, great talent doesn't necessarily make a great team. Let's start with Baker Mayfield. What does this mean for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think Baker Mayfield is the key to all of this, right? This has almost been the perfect example of how to build a franchise, how to rebuild one, is you start prepping, you get all those draft picks, you get all the cap space, then you find the quarterback, and that changes everything because now you can go hard. You can make those trades for Odell Beckham Jr., you can make those trades for Olivier Vernon, you can start spending the money and surround Baker Mayfield with all this talent like immediately because you know that he's good enough to take advantage of it.
And I'm learning very quickly because I understand that Baker Mayfield had the second best, highest grade, I should say, for Pro Football Focus of any rookie quarterback since you've been grading players. I think that's very impressive. What I like about him is that he expects to make big plays. I think he's a natural-born leader. Or other guys in the huddle, they assume he is going to be there to make plays.
Right.
And you can see the energy level around him within the huddle and the other guys on that football team, they are now playing better. They have a higher sense of expectation in terms of what's required to go out and win. The fact that he has a coach in Freddie Kitchens who's going to tailor the offense to his skill set, I think it just lends for more success in 2019. Take a look at the backfield. Kareem Hunt eventually is going to be added to the mix. What are you seeing in this backfield?
Yeah, I mean, Chubb was really the sort of forgotten superstar last year. Right away, he was grading at a fantastic level. They just didn't really give him the workload until further on down the season when they changed things. They traded away Carlos Hyde. They let Chubb take over that role, and he became an absolute dominant force. So now you've got Baker Mayfield. You've got some real skill in the backfield. We know what Kareem Hunt can bring on the field. Dating back to his time at Toledo, he's been this tackle-breaking machine, a real threat in the passing game as well. So that backfield has got some real dynamism to it. And then, of course, we know what they've added from a receiving standpoint with Odell Beckham and, all the weapons they have there as well.
When I look at Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, we know they were college roommates at LSU. But these are guys that have, I think, excellent chemistry. Not just with each other, I think immediately excellent chemistry with a young quarterback in Baker Mayfield. What I love about them is that they're highly competitive. So when you talk about winning 50-50 balls, when you talk about contested balls, they come down with the ball the majority of the time. If it's within their pass catching radius, which I think is a very large one, these guys have a tendency to come down with the football.
Yeah, and the other thing that we can't overstate is the upgrade from Eli Manning in New York to Baker Mayfield, not just in terms of overall quality, but just ball accuracy levels. Eli Manning's ball location was not good last year. Odell Beckham's grading at an extremely good level. With Eli Manning throwing in the ball, you change that to Baker Mayfield, you've got a guy actually putting the ball where it's supposed to be. His numbers could go through the roof.
You have two receivers who are great one-hand catchers. Right. They're excellent when it comes to catching the ball with two hands. Let's transition over to the defensive side of the ball. The Browns used a second-round pick on Greedy Williams. Out of LSU, another player who's familiar with those two receivers, but he's going to be playing opposite of last year's rookie sensation, Denzel Ward. I like both of these corners. We believe that the corner position is more important than maybe any other position on defense. Some may argue that the pass rush is more important. I believe coverage is more important. Give me what you got, Sam.
Well, I think the good thing is they should be good in both spots, right? They added a lot of talent to that defensive line. It's not just Myles Garrett and Larry Ogunjobi now. They brought in Sheldon Richardson. And Richardson's a guy who, maybe never quite plays to his potential, but he plays to 80% of his potential. And 80% of his potential is pretty good. That's going to get you a lot of pressure. And then you had the Olivier Vernon trade as well. So now you've got four guys that can bring pressure. I really like that combination of Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams at cornerback. My only concern is what the scheme looks like with those guys, because I think they're both better in man coverage than they are in zone. Greedy Williams in particular. And last year, that Greg Williams system was perfect for that. It's a lot of man coverage. The Browns had the 5th highest percentage of man coverage a year ago. But the Steve Wilks kind of system, at least when we saw in Arizona, that was the 3rd most zone coverage last year. So you're basically completely flipping the kind of coverage you run. And you've got to have question marks about how well Greedy Williams in particular fits in that scheme. And are you going to change to do what they do well, or are you going to hope they can do the same thing in that zone system?
Steve Wilks in Carolina with the Panthers when he was a defensive coordinator and head coach with the Arizona Cardinals. You're going to get a lot of cover 3. You're going to get some cover 2, but they're going to mix in some man as well.
Right.
To me, it's going to be about, can you get pressure on the quarterback? You got to be good on the back end, but I think Myles Garrett could be as good as any pass rusher currently in the National Football League. He's graded out pretty good here at Pro Football Focus. But he said that, hey, he was only allowed to use 2 types of rushes under former defensive coordinator Greg Williams. Steve Wilks says, hey, we're going to give you the chance to be the player that we think you can be. What does that mean for Myles Garrett? What do you expect from him in 2019?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe you lose something on the back end by those guys not being quite in the scheme that plays to their strengths, but maybe you make up for it on the front end because now you're unleashing Myles Garrett and you say, okay, you were pretty good. You were a top 10 kind of pass rusher, just being restricted to those 2 moves.
Yeah.
Now you can do whatever you want. You can set up offensive tackles. You can play to your strengths and really open up the golf club bag and just take everything out and see what you can do. They might get more pressure on that front end because of that, and maybe patch up some of the lack of an ideal fit on the back end.
So now it's time to put you on the spot. Does the talent make for a team that will live up to the expectations in Cleveland?
I think it will. I think everything is looking good, right? They're moving in the right direction, and you can't overstate the impact of getting the right quarterback. And, PFF was on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon right from the start. Way back when we were saying this is the best quarterback prospect we have ever seen since we've been grading college football. And you could see it from day one in the NFL. He comes in against the Jets, executes that comeback, rescues the team. He looks like a guy that changes what happens on the field, and now you're surrounding him with all this weaponry.
Only 2 things in my mind can derail the 2019 Cleveland Browns, because I think they have enough talent to compete with Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. I think they can run this division. Injuries can derail this team. The only other thing that can derail this team is ego. I don't have a problem with them and asking myself, can they weather the storm of adversity that comes with every NFL season? My only question is, can they handle success? Because it's going to be euphoric in Cleveland. If they start to win games, they go 4-0, 5-0. How will they handle the success of winning with the personalities that they have on this team? So that's what we all need to look out for in 2019 for the Cleveland Browns. He's Sam Monson. I'm Solomon Wilcots for PFF TV. Thanks for joining us.